Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it is time for a TBR video, and you guys are probably thinking, I haven't seen a TBR from Kara in a while, and it's because I haven't done a TBR since like, I think January was my last one, and it's because I've been so busy traveling like right at the month switchover, and so I never get around to filming my TBR, and then it's too late to film it by the time I get home, and it's really annoying because I really love filming TBRs, and I haven't been able to film one for like, I don't know, 2 months or something like that. So finally, I'm going to be filming a TBR video. It's been kind of nice. Like, it's been kind of nice just reading whatever I feel like. Sometimes it's nice to just go to my bookshelf and just pick something out. But I do like to have like a set of books that I get to choose from for the month. I'm excited to finally do this. It's about time, and hopefully I can get some books from my top 20 I want to read in 2025, because I haven't read hardly any books from that list yet, which is crazy because usually I read way more from that list by now, but I haven't for some reason. So as you guys know, I picked 7 books, but I don't read all 7 books. I just kind of have those 7 books to choose from, and I usually read maybe like 4 out of the 7. Let's go ahead and pick my first prompt. This is so fun. I haven't done this in so long, but it's super fun. Okay. Boring first sentence. So I've gotten this prompt before, and it was actually kind of hard to choose, but it makes it kind of fun because I can kind of pick the books that I'm the most interested in and then hope that they have a boring first sentence. So let me look around and see what I can find. Okay, so I'm reading a thriller right now, and it's kind of putting me in like this thriller mood. And then I also picked a couple romances as well, because I'm always in the mood for a romance. So I picked 4 books, and we're gonna read the first sentences and see which one has the most boring out of these 4. So the first one is Obsession Falls by Claire Kingsley. This is like a romance that I found at a thrift store, and I've never heard anybody talk about this before, but I'm really curious about it. So let's see what the first sentence is. He'll risk it all to protect her. Are you kidding me? That's like the most me first sentence that could possibly be in this book. Someone is stalking Aubrey Young, and she has no idea why. So that's the next sentence. I feel like I can't pick this one because that sentence is literally me. So the next one is More Than This by Patrick Ness. I got this also at a thrift store. So let's see what this one is. Here is the boy drowning. Okay. Here's the boy drowning. I wouldn't say that's the most interesting first sentence, because you know going into this book that the boy drowns. Like, that's what the synopsis says. So reading that first sentence, like the boy is drowning or whatever it was, is kind of like, okay, yeah, I know that. Like, that's the point of the book. So I'm gonna say that this could be a contender. Okay, Nora goes off script. So this one, let's see what this one is. Hollywood's Coming Today. I'm not going to lose my house. Okay, that's boring. I don't like that one. Okay, and then we have The Collective by Allison Galen. Let's see what this first sentence is. The ceremony starts in 20 minutes. That's also very boring. I'm gonna go with More Than This. And the only reason I'm going with this one is because A, I really want to read it, and 2, I feel like that first sentence isn't really all that interesting because I already knew that that was gonna be the book from the synopsis. So I feel like it's just kind of like, well, duh, he drowns. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go with this one, but mostly because I just really want to read it. Okay, so pick number 2. A weapon on the cover. Okay, so this one's good because it means it will most likely be a fantasy. I feel like fantasies usually are the ones with the weapons on the cover. So there may be a thriller that I could pick. Because like I said, I'm just in a thriller mood. So maybe I'll try to find a thriller, and if I can't find a thriller, then I'll go with a fantasy. Okay, so I decided to go with The Collective. So this was just in the last set of books that I was choosing from, and she is holding a little gun right here in her hand. And I just feel like I'm in the mood to read this one. Like I said, I'm in a thriller mood, and this one has kind of been on my radar for a little while. This is about a woman whose 5-year-old daughter dies, and she is grieving her daughter. So she actually finds herself on the dark web, and she is kind of like drawn into this forum where there's other mothers who lost their children, and they're basically just really grieving. And they're kind of like sharing their fantasies of revenge, like how they would get revenge on the people that caused these deaths and things like that. But what she finally comes to realize is that they're not actually fantasies. These women actually want to carry out these revenge situations. She just kind of finds herself, you know, drawn into this group of women, and so I think it's just kind of them like acting out their revenge fantasies is what I am assuming. It's kind of along those lines. So I think it sounds really interesting and really fun. So I think it sounds unique too, like something I haven't read before. So I think this will be really interesting. Hopefully I like it. Okay, let's pick another one. And I do want to get a audiobook on this list and also a romance because I always am in the mood for romance. I'm actually not in like a fantasy mood right now for some reason. Ask ChatGPT to pick a genre. Okay, this will be interesting. Can you please pick a genre of book for me to read?
Sure. How about trying a fantasy novel? It's a great way to escape into a different world with rich characters and exciting adventures. You might enjoy it.
Thanks. That's the last type of book I wanted to read.
Got it. How about a mystery or thriller then?
I'm not saying I don't want to read a fantasy. It's just like right in this moment I don't want to read a fantasy, but that will change, or that can change throughout the month. Like there's been times where I'm like, I'm in such a romance mood, and then by the time I get to like the middle of the month, I'm no longer in a romance mood. So I have to pick kind of a variety. So I'll pick a fantasy because it'll be nice to have one on my list just in case. Okay, I think you're gonna be really happy about this. And I'm kind of happy about it too. Maybe this choice is actually gonna make me want to read a fantasy more because I've been kind of like thinking about this for a little bit, okay? Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. You guys know I have not read this series yet, but I really want to read it. I just keep putting it off for some reason, but I really want to read it. I've heard such good things about it. Now I know that a lot of people say to not read this one first and to read The Throne of Glass first because of publication order, but some people say to start with this one. And I feel like I'm the type of person that likes to read things like linearly. It's like if I'm going to read something, I don't want to go back in time. Like I just want to read like in order of events, you know what I mean? So I think that this will be really good for me to read first. And I know not everyone agrees, but I think that's what will be best for me. And some people just swear by reading this one first. So I think it'll be safe. But now I kind of want to read this. Like this kind of made me excited. So maybe I'll get in a fantasy mood later this month and I will actually read this. We'll see. Book by a male author. So I have male author as a prompt because I always read female authors, or I tend to read them a lot. So I always try to get some male authors in there too because I just don't read them as often. But I think I know what I'm going to pick actually. I have on my Kindle Run by Blake Crouch. And as you guys know, Blake Crouch is one of my favorite authors. I absolutely love him. And I've only read like his last 3 novels published. So Recursion, Dark Matter, and Upgrade. And I liked all of them, but I want to read some of his backlist. And so Run, I feel like is a good place to start. Plus he like republished it with like a new cover to kind of match like his newer books and stuff like that. So since he picked this one to kind of like reissue and like put out there again, maybe it's really good or maybe it's similar to some of his newer work. So I'm not exactly sure what to expect with Run. I don't even really know what it's about, if I'm being honest. I need to read the synopsis, but because it's Blake Crouch, I think it's pretty safe to say that I will like it, regardless of what it's about. So, okay. Next book. Even number of letters in the title. Okay, so this might be good for audiobook. Let's see. Do you know what book I really want to read right now? Dolly Parton's Song Teller. So I'm kind of upset. Oh, that's locked. Did I get that for free or something? I must have got that for free. And it went to lock. Oh well, I'll pick a different one. Blackwood's Blue Sky. That book looks really good. It looks like a romance, but kind of a more serious romance. So let me count the letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 17. So it's not an even number of pages. Maybe I'll do Annie Bot. That book has been kind of on my radar lately, and it has 8 letters in the title, and that's by Sierra Greer. So I think I'm going to put that on my TBR, is Annie Bot by Sierra Greer. I've heard mixed things about this. Some people really, really like it, and some people are very so-so on it. We'll see. It's 9 hours and 31 minutes, so it's not super, super long, but hopefully I like it. A book with a cool cover font. So a cover font that's unique and pretty. Okay, so this could give me a few different options, but probably fantasy. I feel like fantasy usually has the coolest cover fonts. Okay, so I have a few to choose from. The first one is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This has been on my TBR for years. I actually owned this book for a really long time, and then I unhauled it because I was like, oh, I'm not going to like it. And then I started seeing a ton of reviews again about it, saying how great of a book it was, and it made me want to read it again. And so I saw it in a little free library, and so I grabbed it. So this is my second time having this on my shelf. and I really just need to read it. And then the Gunkel, so this has a really kind of cool cover font. We'll see. And then we have Carmilla. This is the cult classic that inspired Dracula. I've been wanting to read this for ages. And then we have Obsession Falls. And this has a cool cover font right here. So I know that's not like the best cover font, but it's more unique than just like bold print. You know what I mean? So I would say this probably has the coolest, kind of that old English, you know, calligraphy. But I kind of need a romance. Maybe I'll cross my fingers and hope that the next the next prompt will be able to give me this one, and I'll pick this one. Because this one, I like the cover font on this better. Like, this is more unique, and I want to stick to the prompt. So I'm going to pick this one, Carmilla, and I'm going to hope that the next prompt will give me this one. Because I really want to read this one. For some reason, I'm really curious about it. So let's see. Let's cross our fingers. This will be the last choice. A thrifted book. I thrifted this book for $1. I got this at a little random thrift store in my town. It wasn't Goodwill, but every book in that thrift store is $1. And that's where I found this book. So this is thrifted. That works perfectly. I'm so happy. And like I said, this is about a woman who's getting stalked, and she like moves to this small town and she meets this guy, and they're kind of like fighting their feelings for each other. But he, I think, realizes his feelings for her when he finds out that she's being stalked, and he starts to realize that he's like really protective of her, which that's totally my kind of like trope. So I'm excited for this one. So we have Obsession Falls for thrifted book, Carmilla for pretty cover font, The Assassin's Blade for fantasy novel picked by ChatGPT, The Collective, which has a weapon on the cover, More Than This, which is a boring first sentence, and then we have Run, which is a male author, and then we have Annie Bot, which is a even number of letters in the title. So those are my books. This is the stack right here, plus the 2 that are on my Kindle and an audiobook. I think this looks like a pretty good list. I really, really do. I'm really curious to see which ones I actually end up reading. I have a feeling I'm probably going to read, like if I had to guess right now, Obsession Falls, probably Annie Bot, Run, and if I get to one more, probably Carmilla. So that's my guess, but I could be completely wrong. So that is it for this TBR video. Hopefully it was fun. It felt so good to finally do this again. Like, I love doing TBR videos. I think it's so much fun, so I'm really glad I was able to do it. And I think that's it, guys. So I'll see you in my next video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.